When you walk into a theme park like Universal Studios, you're stepping into an environment meticulously designed to guide your experience. Every sound cue, every line layout, every smell drifting through the air seems intentional. And that raises a philosophical question we rarely stop to ask ourselves. Are you freely choosing what you do here, or are your choices being shaped for you? And in today's episode, we're not asking whether theme parks are good or bad, or whether they're manipulative or harmless fun. Instead, we're asking a deeper question about free will itself, using the philosophy of David Hume as our guide. To understand Hume, we need to start with determinism. Determinism is the idea that every event, including human decisions, is the result of prior causes. Your preferences, your moods, even what ride you choose next all arise from chains of cause and effect. And for many philosophers, that sounds like a threat to free will. Because if everything is caused, how could we truly be free? David Hume thought this fear was misplaced. In a treatise of human nature, written in the late 1730s, Hume argues that free will doesn't require freedom from causes. Instead, freedom means something much simpler. Acting according to your desires, intentions, and character without external force or constraint. In other words, you are free when you do what you want to do, even if what you want has causes, Hume says. Seen through this lens, Universal Studios starts to look like a living example of Hume's compatibilism. You aren't dragged onto rides, you aren't forced to buy popcorn, you choose where you go, what to experience, and when to leave. The park offers options, but not commands. Yet those options are clearly structured. Sightlines guide foot traffic, music builds anticipation, smells trigger appetite, long queues heighten emotional payoff. And from a human perspective, none of this undermines your freedom. These features don't bypass your will, they work through it. They influence your desires, but the final decision still comes from you. You act freely because you act in accordance with what you want. And at this point, some people want to object. Aren't these desires just biological drives being exploited? Hunger, excitement, fear, novelty seeking, these are deeply rooted in our biology. But Hume would caution us against a reductionist mistake. And that mistake is treating biological drives as something separate from the self. Your desires aren't external to you, they are you. It's just biology. Doesn't eliminate freedom, it simply describes its source. And so for Hume, freedom isn't acting without desire, it's acting because of desire. If we try to strip biology out of agency, we end up with an empty, fictional self that never actually chooses anything. So when Universal triggers excitement or appetite, it isn't overriding your will, it's actually engaging the very mechanisms through which wheels operate. But this is where things get more complicated. Consider a 4-year-old crying because he or she desperately want ice cream. Are they being coerced by the smell of the ice cream stand, or are they freely expressing their desire? From Hume's view, the child is acting from internal motivation and not by force. But now shift the focus to the parents. They may give in, not because they want ice cream, but because they want their child to be happy, or more likely, to stop crying. And so here, influence becomes layered. Universal isn't forcing anyone, but it understands family dynamics, emotional bonds, and biological responses. The child's desire becomes a lever on the parent's will. Freedom still exists, but it becomes uneven, varying with age, awareness, and power. Compatibilism holds, but it might feel thinner at the edges. So, are you free at Universal Studios, or any theme park for that matter? Well, according to David Hume, the answer is yes. Because you're doing what you want, guided by desires that belong to you, not imposed by force. But this freedom isn't heroic or absolute, and it's modest at best. It exists inside systems designed to anticipate you, understand you, and gently guide you. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Freedom doesn't disappear when environments are designed, but becomes something we practice within them. In our next episode, we'll explore the critics who aren't convinced, philosophers who argue that compatibilism goes too far in defending freedom, and that maybe you're being manipulated after all. Thank you guys for sticking around for another theme park philosophy episode. If you want more content like this, I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed and shared this video. I am a growing channel, and so any little bit helps us grow and create more content like this. David Hume was actually one of my favorite philosophers going from undergraduate. So if you are really interested in maybe picking up philosophy, David's a really great place to start. You can always start with the treatise on human nature. He is a fascinating thinker and way ahead of his time. But this is the end of the video now, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.